All right, good evening, everybody. Welcome to another Toonkind at 12 frames per second. I'm Kraken. This is In the Cards, and I am playing Craigory Danthew-Dovran, who has a bit of a mission today. Uh, with me to be lightly menaced is...
Hi, I'm RJ. I'm playing Decimal Weaver of Fate, who is to be lightly menaced, apparently.
I say menace. It's a strong word. Menace is a strong word. No. If anything, Craigory's trying very hard not to be a menace. He's trying so hard.
This poor flat-assed wizard who overthinks everything.
Yeah. But, so that stands. I think we then open, Decimal? You're in Halloween Town, or, as we discussed, I think you're on your way to leave Halloween Town.
Yep.
Which then, for funsies, let's just open up with a roll perception.
Oh boy. Me or you?
I think you, but for fun, I'll do it as well.
Sure.
Then again, if I roll really terribly, that takes out this entire bit, but...
He's not actually wearing his therapy clothes, Hex. He carries his therapy clothes in his hammer space to go to his physical therapy sessions, and he gets changed there and gets changed after. Unless his leg fucking completely gives out on him, and he literally can't change. Okay. I can't do math right now. What the fuck is that number? 29.
Jesus Christ. RJ, help. Help me.
Oh no! What did you roll?
He got a 3. It's a good thing Decimal has stupid numbers and got a 29, because that means that Craigory will not walk right into him, because Decimal can step out of the way.
Yeah. There's a moment of, oh, that's Craigory. Curious coincidence. And he keeps walking and then realizes Craigory's walking at him, hasn't yet seen him, and this is a bad day for the leg. So he stops. Craigory, look up.
With a 3, does he?
If he just keeps walking, the Decimal's gonna step out the way, but trip him.
Rolling another perception to see which that is then. It's an 8. Oh my god.
If he's being tripped, roll a dex save.
Okay, that's... Here, a non-terrible roll. How's a 14?
I'd say it's just good enough. The cane gets jabbed at your ankles, and it does, like, make you stumble, but you don't fall over.
This has happened once or twice enough that there's a bit of muscle memory going on as well.
Yeah.
Craigory knows what to do. It's just like sort of hop, skip, jump. As he just reacts. But, great news, has not fallen flat on his face. I'm just gonna have to spin around and go like, what? Hi, what was that for? Hi?
You almost walked into me, Dunderhead.
Okay, that would do it. Sorry.
You're thinking about something important, man.
Kind of, actually. And, Decimal, you recognize the look on this wizard's face that suddenly appears. That's the, oh, this is an opportunity, and the, I might have to corner this person face.
Oh, boy. The hackles do raise instinctively, but he very clearly tries to temper that response. Because this is his brother. who wouldn't hurt him, he hopes.
Oh, never. Craigory just kind of does look and go like, on that note, I guess I did have some questions for you. Is there somewhere you need to be, or do you have a minute? Maybe 5?
I have time. What is it you wanted to ask?
So, I might have a bit of a deal for you.
Interesting choice of words, but go on.
Well, just it's... So, Craigory, I think, is going to reach into hammer space, and now I still haven't yet decided whether it's funnier for Craigory to have found either A, a very ratty but complete Taroka deck, B, a ratty and incomplete Taroka deck, or C, have made a shitty one himself.
Roll a d3, because those I think are all equally good. And also, okay, so
it's incomplete.
And incomplete. And also roll your d10 for hammer space.
True.
If he fumbles, that's gonna be really funny.
No fumble. That's a 9.
Cool.
So, it's old and beat as hell, but it doesn't even look complete. Like, it looks a little skimpy, but that is a Taroka deck.
How on earth do you find that?
I buried way deep in some Halloween Town library space. This is not what I'm not trying to trade you this whole thing, just to be clear. It's more like I'd like you to teach me, maybe. And in return, I do have some they're pretty rare poisons you could pick something out of. Stolen from Thrall's garden, if that makes it the deal any sweeter.
I don't tend to use poison.
It's kind of what I got that I figured would be equivalent. Just shrugs. And you also don't have to say yes anyway. I know this is kind of a weird ask, and it's your thing.
Well, it's not just my thing. There are other practitioners of Taroka in Ironquell. I'm mostly curious as to why you, of all people, would be interested. You don't particularly seem the type for the more esoteric arts.
It's true, I haven't been. But, I don't know, like... Craigory's kind of shuffling in place because this is both gone about as he expected in terms of awkwardness and also not at all as he hoped. Just in terms of, like, wouldn't things be super easy if things just went, no. With, I saw Thrall doing a lot of readings in my, time, let's call it. And it just seemed like there was something there. Like, I was starting to catch on a little bit. Like, enough that it seemed significant. It's been a project to pick at. It seemed like something I could pursue. And, any method of gaining knowledge, really. Does that make sense?
It does. From what I recall, the thrall practices tarot, which is a more, I hesitate to say complicated because they're about equally complicated, but more involved practice.
Yeah, it's also been easier to find information on it. I will say that.
Yes. Tarot is he pauses, gestures with the hand, not holding his cane, kind of kind of like rolls his eyes, rolls his hand a bit, and just goes, not to sound like some contrarian hipster, but a little bit more mainstream.
Yeah, it's yeah, kind of the impression I got. The other factor is, you know, of the people I know that I could ask for this sort of thing, there's you and there's them, and I'm not asking them. So.
That's rather fair. Well then, if we're doing this, I'd like to sit down. This will take a while.
Yeah, of course. I'm gonna say there's gonna be nearby some, like, you know, those picnic tables
Yeah.
that are in parks and stuff? Yeah.
Yeah.
Troop right on over.
Cool. Okay. I think Decimal sits, like, flicks his coat out the way, sits down, props his cane up on the table, against the table, and goes, "So, how much have you discovered?"
Well, good news and bad news. Bad news is, I'm sure you know, there's not a lot of information, or not a lot that isn't. Craigory makes a face and sort of like gestures with a hand.
Esoteric spooky bullshit?
Yeah. And like, I know this is the esoteric spooky bullshit town, but you know, there's a limit.
As I said, tarot tends to be the more mainstream one. Taroka is fairly limitedly practiced.
Right, yeah. So basically, same corner as I found this, holds up the deck. There was one book that, you know, wasn't pinging, let's call it a bullshit radar for information. So, meanings, general meanings, that sort of thing. Descriptions of a couple spreads, but, you know, there's a difference between having that theory and there's got to be actual. He frowns. Is there actual magic in the act of reading? That I don't know.
Well, that entirely depends. There are some, such as my former mentor, who use the cards as a spellcasting medium. They have actual magic. For me, it's mostly just bullshitting. You read the person you're doing the reading for, see what you can glean from their general demeanor, look at the cards and try and fit the reading to the person. I have an uncanny sense for being right, though.
Yeah, that you do. Craiger's also snorting because he's now remembering the very first time they ever met. Craig, the first thing Craig ever did was accuse Decimal of, like, lying to some poor kid named Gray and catastrophizing the reading.
I suspect, given my titles and whatnot, that perhaps there is a little bit more truth to what I say than I know, but for the most part, it is just bullshitting. Here. And he reaches into his pocket, which is what I rolled the Hammersmith for earlier. And he pulls out a deck of Taroka cards, and they're very clearly used. They are well taken care of. These are not the cards that he uses as ammunition. They're old. Older than you'd expect, given how old Decimal is. And he slides them over to you.
Uh, Craigory will just pick up a card and inspect us. Yeah, huh? And so where'd you get this one from? It seems past you. Passed down? There's a word.
Roll investigation.
Sweet, sweet.
And Arcana if you want.
Okay, here. Thank you, Craigory. Good rolls. Did you say investigation or Arcana or both?
Both.
Both. Okay. Well, the investigation
You will
first
get
of
different
all.
things with each.
The investigation is 18 plus 7 is 23.
That's
No,
good.
hold on.
Okay.
Wait.
18 plus 7
25.
is 25.
Yeah. And then an Arcana. Fittingly, less. Fittingly, that is a 15.
Okay. I'd say 15 is still enough. There's a faint. You pick up a card, and this faint aura against your fingertips. You could not tell what it feels like. You just tell that it's there, and it's old. It's faded. Whatever it is, it's not Decimals. He's not fed it. But someone has used these cards as a spellcasting focus.
Uh-huh.
And with your investigation, you can tell these cards are handmade. Someone has drawn each of these cards by hand. Top deck from my own card. You've picked up you've picked up the Five of Glyphs. Which is the Druid. It features an old man in the foreground in ornate robes with an ornate headdress, stood in front of a gnarled tree lacking any leaves. And someone has drawn this by hand, but the handwriting at the top and the bottom that says the Druid isn't Decimals. This is not his nigh unreadable chicken scratch. This is a practiced calligraphic hand. And as you're making these connections, he kind of shrugs leisurely and goes, "My former mentor gave them to me as my first deck." It's not quite your first deck. You've already taken care of that yourself, as incomplete as it is, but I figure it's likely fitting.
What? Hold on, you're not... This is your Majesty. You can't give this to me.
Yes, I can. And yes, I did.
No. Craigory makes a face. That's... If you're sure...
I'm sure. Your first deck tends to work better if given to you by someone else. At least that's what my former mentor said.
Craigory absolutely read that in one of the tarot books, but that was one of the tidbits he dismissed as esoteric nonsense. So he's just sitting like, God damn it.
Yeah, surprisingly, that little bit of esoteric spooky bullshit is true. As far as I'm aware.
Well, I'll take good care of this then. Thanks for taking me seriously, I guess.
I take a lot of things seriously. This is one of them. But we'll see how you do with the draw. Pick up the deck and shuffle it. You don't need to do anything fancy, just shuffle it to get it used to you and you used to it.
Good that Decimal specified you don't have to do anything fancy, because Craigory and me was like, oh no. But
if you need someone to show you how to shuffle the cards, I can do that for you too.
I don't. Do you figure this is like a dex check for Craigory or sleight of hand? I don't know how good he'd be at this.
I usually do sleight of hand. I should really be doing playing cards because he's got proficiency with them, but I usually do sleight of hand if he's going for fancy stuff. I think in this instance, because you're not proficient with the cards, just do a flat dex check to see if you drop any.
He's not proficient, and the other thing is, one hand is technically like hollow light. A bunch of really thin cards may interact funny with it, so let's do sleight of hand.
Okay. Yeah, if he can hold things just fine in his hollow light hand, then it's not so much of an issue.
Yeah. Oh dear.
You just bum the roll.
Not horrifically, but this is not a good look. A 7 is not a good look.
Yeah, you go to shuffle, and you put a little bit too much pressure on it, and some of the cards go spilling. You don't drop much, but you drop quite a few.
Oh god, and Craigory's scrambling to get them back because this is a gifted deck. This is Decimal's. Don't lose any, for the love of God, and don't get him on the ground.
Yeah. If you'd like to contest that, you can try, but...
With a plus 12?
You might get it. It's a 16.
True. Is that Dex? Or?
That was a deception. You can try and contest it.
Okay. Yeah, he just might. Oh! Oh, just barely.
Barely. You gather all the cards up, like, glance nervously up at Decimal, see what he thinks, and he is biting his lip, but you catch the flicker of amusement in his eyes, and you realize he's trying not to laugh at you.
You're allowed to laugh it up, you know, I know that was bad.
Not the worst first shuffle I've ever seen. We were playing 4-card pickup after the first time I tried to shuffle a deck. Granted, my hands were still busted at that point. I hadn't yet received my gloves, but still.
Yeah, that wouldn't help. I think then Craigory would try again, and either he can roll again, or this will just plain be a little bit better.
Roll again, but add 3.
Alright. 3 on top of his modifier?
3 on top of your modifier.
Okay. Yeah, here we go. This is functional. That's an 18.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, this time you're able to shuffle them without dropping any. And you managed to thoroughly shuffle them too, which is good. Gods, I'm trying to remember how this works. I think it's 3 cards. Yeah, draw 3 cards.
From the top, or is this like a magic trick where it's from anywhere?
Draw 3 cards from the top.
Craigory will do that. And open up the random org. Alright. Let's draw 3 cards from unshuffled deck. Alright, so from the generator, Craigory pulled up the 6 of clubs, 6 of spades, Queen of diamonds.
Okay.
And I'll also write that down for you just in case.
Yeah, please.
Queen diamonds. There.
Okay, so that is the 6 of stars, the 6 of swords, and you got a hide that card. The marionette.
Ah.
Roll. Oh god. Religion or history, whichever's higher. See if you can remember the meanings of these cards.
They might be the same. No, religion is higher.
You've got higher religion than history?
Apparently.
Wow.
Craigory may not like gods, but he reads a lot. Jesus. Well. Wow.
Roll.
I mean, +7 makes it decent. That's a 10.
10.
A 10.
Okay.
He is not acing his pop quiz portion.
Marionette. It's a high deck. That means it's important.
It doesn't sound great.
Something to do with spies, you think? Maybe? You don't have a fucking clue for the other two?
Yeah, to be fair. Minor deck's huge. Who remembers all that as a beginner?
Decimal.
Decimal's mind is a steel trap.
Decimal is an outlier and should not be counted.
Decimal in general is a steel trap. Decimal's been doing this for years.
True. It's got the fucking intelligence, charisma, and wisdom to prove it.
Yeah.
He spreads his hands and goes, what do you think these cards mean?
Well, high deck is always significant. For sure, for good or ill. Marionette specifically, that's tilt his head. Trying to remember. Decimal can see the gears turning. I don't think it was directly puppeteering, more like spy or someone other.
Close. The marionette shows the presence of a spy or a minion of greater power, or warns of an encounter with a puppet or an underling.
All right. God. As for the stars and swords, I'll be real. There's a lot of minor cards.
14 to be precise.
Yeah.
The stars in general deal with personal power. Desire for control of things beyond that which mortals normally know. Arcane mages, sages, intellectuals. Triumph of magic and science and reason over religion, mysticism, and superstition, too. Rather fitting for yourself. This is where I have to double check something.
Yeah, because I feel like this was actually Craigory's card from Tangled Strings.
Yes, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that
is.
Might actually ping in Craigory's mind, belating, just like, wait a second. Wait a fucking second. Just like points to it. Like, hold on. That's
actually really funny.
That's so incredibly funny.
It gets even funnier. Decimal taps those two cards, those two sixes, and goes, we have your card, and we have Lynn's card.
Oh.
6 of swords. Swords is aggression, violence, warriors. 6, the berserker, was the card that Lynn got.
Okay, so if we go very, very literal here, Lynn and I are supposed to either meet a minion of someone or, well, I guess another interpretation is become minions of someone. Be used for a greater end? That's... I mean, obviously there's multiple ways this could be taken, but...
You're thinking a little too literally, and you're not taking context into account. This is a preliminary reading to greet the deck.
This is probably another thing that Craigory read about that sounded like bullshit. Greeting the deck. Craigory's having to realize he's just got to scrap all assumptions he had before and just sit down and listen.
Yeah. He's being too grounded in reality. You gotta lean into the esoteric bullshit. This... What's the best way to describe it? It's almost a prediction of your working relationship, the deck. There are worse preliminary readings. There are also better preliminary readings.
That is so very reassuring coming from you.
Sometimes middle of the road is good. If I had to interpret this, the deck is aware of who you are, and who those closest to you are, and who you have the potential to be. I think it wants to help.
That's good. Helping is good. That's kind of what I was hoping for, actually. So, glad we're in agreement. Giving that kind of a weird look, just like... Because it feels appropriate to kind of think of it as an entity now, but still kind of weird.
It will get... You'll get used to it. Trial by fire or a little bit more of the theory?
Everything I've done so far on my own is theory, so quite frankly, I am good to trial by fire.
Alright. Pick up the cards, shuffle the deck again.
Craigory will do so. Do we want another roll again, or does he just do it?
Not yet.
Alright. Shuffles those three cards back in.
We're going to do a reading. More specifically, you're going to do a reading for me.
Alright. Do you have a question then, or is this going to be like a sort of past, present, future spread, or what's...
We're going to do a present state reading, because they are the simplest. They don't require a question, they just require a subject.
Alright.
Shuffle the deck until I say stop, and then once shuffled, you'll pick 5 cards from the top. Put them face down.
Alright. Craigory has started to shuffle.
Yes, 5 cards. Okay, roll decks again. Don't add anything other than your basic modifier.
Yep, that's a 14.
Okay. 14. Okay, so you drop a card.
Alright.
Roll a d5 to see where you drop it. Okay, you drop it on the 4th card. Okay, cool. So generate 6 cards, and let me know what you get.
Alright. Oh, good, a joker. I'll write this down for you. Hold on.
Which joker?
Black joker. So, King of clubs. Four of clubs. Black joker. Ah, I wasn't finished. Hold on. There's 3 more.
It's so good. It's so good. Wait. Oh, that's 2 high decks already.
You're gonna be real excited to see what comes in the other half.
Oh no. Well, that's interesting.
Three high
Oh.
cards.
Oh, that's interesting. All right. Okay. Okay, so the King of Clubs is your dropped card. So, he directs you where to put them down, and then tells you to flip them over. Um, excuse me while I just figure out the cards. So that's the Four of Stars. That is. Oh, interesting. That's interesting. Okay.
Can't wait to see what completely scarily accurate nonsense.
Oh, that's that's real interesting. Okay. 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 It's oh wow. This is almost all high deck and swords aside from the Four of Stars.
Damn.
Interesting.
Oh boy, oh boy. So
Interesting. Interesting. Interesting.
Okay, the good news is, in terms of Craigory's knowledge, he pre-rolled an RDM's decent on 3, so he probably remembers like the spread and like what the positions mean.
Yeah.
As for card details, that's where things get hairy.
Yeah.
But
roll your religion. Add a D4. Because he's guidancing you.
well, Jesus Christ! All right, and then
This is either
D4.
really good or really bad.
This is pretty good.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
18 plus 7 plus 2
18 plus 7 plus 2
is 27. Yes.
Nice. Okay.
It's in the zone.
Yeah, he is, actually. Okay. I'm just gonna straight up copy paste the meanings of the cards then.
Be very useful rather than me very rapid fire scrolling up and down a web page.
Yeah. So that's that one. Let's grab this one while we're at it. I'll do them in the order that they would appear in the reading. So the drop card is going to be in amongst the rest. Da. There you go.
I'm gonna have to use my thinky brain on this.
Yeah. How hard is Craigory focusing on the cards?
With a fucking 27, I feel like fair to say very.
Okay.
He is making a goddamn attempt. He wants to justify the effort then that Decimal's putting into this.
Fair. I'll leave it up to you then whether or not he notices the quick flicker of emotions that cross Decimal's face right there.
Man. Well, I just said he's focused on the card, so if he wanted to also catch that, that'd probably be an insight or perception.
It would 100% be an insight either way.
Right.
It just depends on whether or not you do it at a disadvantage.
I'll be real, it's probably a disadvantage.
Fair. All right, roll.
You know,
a
with all of
disadvantage and see
Craigory's
what you
plus
get.
1 to decimals
Yeah.
bullshit. This is almost certainly not going to go. Okay, well, that's an 11. And a 12. Yep.
11. Craigory doesn't catch anything. For the audience, he is. He's looking at that future. He's looking at that future. And he's worried, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, I should fucking think so. Oh dear. Craigory's silent for a bit as he kind of looks things overview. Just okay. So, disclaimer, probably going to be wildly off base. First real reading, but
New reading, who dis? Carry on.
fair enough. Okay, abjurer. So, subject, you. Stars. Okay, so logic reason, like rational people. That glances at the decimal. Yeah, that fits. But there's also, say, taps finger on it. This one kind of includes like a warning with it as well. It's something to do with something a rational person is overlooking. Which, I'll be real, doesn't necessarily seem like you, but hey, forewarned is forearmed.
It could also be in the context of my own deceptions. A warning to others that I hide things.
That certainly seems to track more in reality. Yeah. Past detail. High card. Okay, Raven. That's actually, this is information again. So in the past, a hidden source of information, head tilts. There's also, this was multiple things. There's also kind of like there's potential in that and a turn of events. Transformation, maybe? He won't comment too much further on that because he knows, and Decimal knows, Craigory knows about Rager. So, as you do. Opposition. Okay, Master of Swords. It's a high card. Force personified. That's kind of the whole swords suit in general. People using violence to get what they want. It could describe a fair number of people, Craigory says, charitably.
A minor correction. The Master of Swords is still a common deck card. It is the highest card of swords. It is not a high deck card.
Gotcha. Still kind of bad news bears placed in this context. That's bad vibes.
Well, it is in the opposition.
Mm-hmm. Uh, Craigory also pauses on the future card. Because that very much is a high deck card.
It's two high deck cards, one of which is dropped.
Yeah. Well, he'll do the undropped one first. So your future, the innocent, someone important who's in trouble or going to be in trouble and may not be aware of it. Ominous.
Tends to be.
And this was where the dropped card was. This is the ghost. Okay, so I'll tell me it's not a little funny that a card to do with the past is in your future bit. Just a little irony.
It's usually comic irony, yes.
So something from the past is going to come up again. Someone or something or a secret may or may not tie directly to the innocent. And then ally is the government? All that is wrong with government. That's it. There we go. But also, again, those who get things done with force. So Craigory kind of leans back after having just systemically gone through it all. So, overall, that's a lot of swords. A lot of high decks. This, well, okay, yeah, that reads to me as conflict is coming for you. At some point. And it's gonna involve someone important to you.
Broad strokes, yes. One thing worth noting is that when high deck cards show up in a reading, they are drawing attention, they are demarcating important things. You should try and look at a reading through the lens of those high deck cards. See what they are telling you.
Right. So the two high decks are the Raven and the Innocent. That's
three
high
decks.
Hold on. The Raven, the Innocent,
Taps the
and...
ghost. The ghost.
Right.
Taps
My
it.
eyes skipped that because it's separated.
Roll perception really quick.
Wahoo. That's a 15.
15. You know what? Yeah, that's high enough. He taps the card, and which naturally draws your eye to his hands, which are shaking slightly. Would you like to hear my interpretation?
Sure, please.
So, looking at these cards through the high decks, there are two positions that are occupied by high deck cards: relevant past detail and possible future. This is, as you mentioned, typically a bout of karmic irony, a reminder that history is cyclical, and things that have come to pass will often return. The Raven, as you noted, is representative of a hidden source of information, fortunate turns of events. It is likely It is likely serving as a reminder that even in the darkest of times, there is the chance of a good outcome. Uh, Platitude to soften the blow, for lack of better terms, presented by the future cards. Cards, plural, because we have a dropped card in this position. Dropped cards are important. They are an immediate sign. They are the Taroko equivalent of sit up and pay attention. Given that this is a general state reading about me, this is a warning. At some point in the future, something is going to happen. To me, specifically.
Craigory looks up sharply at that.
Given what the ghost represents and what the innocence symbolizes. And he falters here. And you are reminded just suddenly you look at this kid, because this is a kid, and you realize, or you remember, that he's younger than you are.
Mm-hmm. He makes it easy to forget. But
yeah. I have some suspicions of what this is warning about. And we see this warning repeated in the opposition and ally cards. A warrior, someone who uses force to accomplish their goals. A dictator, someone who rules through fear and violence. What separates these two but a moral code? What separates these two but perspective? They may be the same person. Or they could be different. We don't know yet.
Well, at least giving you something to think about means you might not be caught totally off guard then.
Yes. I suppose it does. Forewarned is forearmed, as you said.
Mm-hmm. Craigory's not wanting to name names to things because he knows that the part of the entire point is that things are so open-ended as to be up to interpretation and also able to mean multiple things at once, but his brain thinking.
I think Decibel catches that and silently raises an eyebrow like, Penny, for your thoughts.
I mean, Lucian's dead. He's out of the picture.
He is.
Only leaves so many people that I know about, at least. That, to my mind, really leaves Thrall and Rikishi.
I don't think it's Rikishi.
Well, thank the gods for that, actually.
Normally, if Rikishi is mentioned at all, it will be by a card. And given that the horseman is not in this reading, I feel fairly confident in stating it's not.
One less thing to worry about. Good.
Roll insight.
Will do. Ooh. Ooh. Man. That's really fucking good for Craigory.
Ooh.
Got a 19.
19. Fantastic. Okay. You look at Decimal, and he's looking at these cards, and you have a slow dawning realization that Decimal is 99% certain he knows what that means. And he's already come to accept what's going to happen.
Penny, for your thoughts?
Damn. I was hoping you wouldn't catch that. Perhaps these cards are giving you some of my insight.
That would be really handy if true, not gonna lie.
It's a blessing, but it's also a curse. He bites his lip and then goes, "Don't tell Lynn what I'm about to tell you."
Eyebrows raised, and he kind of frowns, like, I can keep a secret, but
I suspect if she were to discover what I've figured out, then she would not react well.
I think Deswell can probably read on Korea. On one hand, he doesn't like to keep secrets from Lynn these days, but on the other, this is actually really bothering and scaring Decimal, and Craigory would rather know what that is and be aware of it than be left in the dark. So, fine. Lynn won't hear it from me then.
I don't know how much you know about Lucian, but he was an avid user of enchantment magics, particularly of the charming and dominating kind. And we already know that the thrall is equally skilled in those areas.
Very much so, yeah.
I have been consulting my cards myself, try and get a glimpse of what might occur. And I see the same thing every time. My hands holding a bloody knife and one of you lot at my feet. Terrifying.
Man. Craigory is now mentally agreeing that, yeah, Lynn does not need to know this one. Every time? No variation?
The only change is in who's there.
Well. It's not reassuring, I'll be real.
It's not exactly pleasant to see either.
No, I can't imagine it is. Can't say I've ever had visions. Are these visions? But, you know.
More like nightmares.
Yeah, nightmares. I mean, I'd dream sometimes when it thralls, like, maybe somebody would come, but I'm Gia, so Thrall would just order me to attack anyway, and that's no fun, but I didn't put anything premoninistic into it, because why would I? This... Well, I'm not going to be able to just dismiss it as that with you, because that would be, I don't know, condescending, but...
It would also be inaccurate. You don't have a talent for divination, not the same way I do. As I said, I am uncannily correct.
So
almost
then,
everything I've predicted has come true.
Then whatever happens, we're all going to deal with it. I mean, this just sounds like you've gotten one instant. A scenario. Nothing of what comes after. Nothing of how it's dealt with or fixed. And you're our friend.
I am, won't I?
You definitely are. Whether you like it or not at this point.
Ha! That does draw a small smile.
You missed the window for shaking any of us off, honestly. It's too late.
Bast is always dogging my footsteps.
Mm-hmm. And that's not going to change in the future. So, whatever happens, we deal with it. Okay?
Just surprisingly comforting. And much in line with what Memoir said.
I'm glad this is working, honestly. I am trying very hard to say the right things.
You're better at the comfort words than you give yourself credit for. Definitely far better than I am.
I don't know. Just, you've got your own way. Maybe.
Ah, yes, the abrasive asshole way works every time. He actually rolls his eyes as he says that.
Well, I'd call it more in your actions than your words, but there you go.
That gets a quizzical eyebrow raise. He does not know what the fuck you're talking about.
Craigory just gives a look back, like he kind of thought he was being obvious, but just... You don't say things straight, so what you do means more than what you say a lot of the time is what I've found. For me, anyway. And what you do is... I have found comfort there before.
I think that's the nicest thing anyone's ever said about me.
It's a bit of a shame. But also you're
There's
welcome.
There's a look of amusement on his face, like, that went in a direction I was not expecting, okay. Well, back on topic. You have a talent. Well, the beginnings of one.
That is nice to hear after I have sunk enough time into this and also agonized over figuring out how to even approach you about this.
You're as bad as the monkey who chronically overthink things.
I couldn't just ask. It's kind of specialized knowledge.
Yes,
What
you
if it
could.
was like...
And yes, you did.
only after I figured out a proper way of asking, which you did not accept, by the way. That's fine, but I thought very hard about it, I'll have you know.
You thought too hard about it.
You sat down with me for like an hour and coached me in baby steps. It's not exactly strikes me as something that comes free.
It's hardly baby steps. You'd already done most of the work yourself.
Still. Thank you for this. While we're on that topic, thanks.
Kind of just makes an offhand gesture, like brushing it off.
I'm sorry it kind of turned grim. The point of this wasn't to...
That would happen. I'll admit being a little bit curious as to whether or not you would see the same things I did, and you did, so.
Oh. To grim omens, then. But, he begins to collect the deck back together. It's just like, You're sure about me keeping these?
Yes. Who knows, perhaps it'll soft lineage.
I'll take good care of him.
Pass over the incomplete deck. Help see if I can complete it for you. You might have to write the names of the cards down yourself. Holds up his fucking busted left hand, which is still shaking.
Yeah, no, I think I can take care of that myself, yeah. But, if you were going anywhere, you are now free to escape if you like. After being waylaid.
I was just going to head back to Toontown, but...
Snack for the road then, maybe?
I wouldn't say no to free food. Granted, I have been spoiled recently. March is a fantastic cook.
Yeah, that he is. But yeah, consider this the payment then for the lesson. My treat from the Ghost Bakery.
Sounds like a plan.
And, Craigory's gonna lead the way, keeping whatever pace Decimal has with his leg.
He is slowed. His speed is reduced by 5 feet.
Yep. Making no comment to the matter, but matches pace.
Cool.
And, Decimal has his pick of some kind of treat from the bakery.
Let's go get some bear claws, fuck it.
Oh, hell yeah. Bear claws, and unless Decimal has anything else, or you have anything else, I think Craigory would just kind of send him on his way with another thanks.
Yeah, that's it. I got nothing else.
Sweet. Well, things sure happened. Thank you, RJ, for this.
Hell yeah. Man, I'm still so shocked every time a generated reading, like, just a random reading like that becomes fucking lore applicable. It happens every time, and I'm shocked every time.
You're just giving, statistically, we have to get something nonsense at some point, right?
Yeah.
And no.
Yeah.
No, the only nonsense readings are March.
Yeah. Yeah.
Could you imagine if Craigory all this fuss, and then when he turned up immediately, it was just this jumbled nonsense of nothing?
God. Decimal would, I think if he sees that, Decimal would actually slam his hands on the table, no matter how bad that would be for him, and just go, "It's not just fucking me, it's you!"
Vindication.
Yeah.
All right. On that, I think I'll end the recording. Thank you for
Hell
listening,
yeah.
everybody.
See ya.